The heart of Mountain Mind Tricks is the breakthrough session. My first breakthrough session was beyond any healing I could have ever imagined. The rapid transformation that happens in the breakthroughs blows my mind every time. Your perception is a projection. In other words, what you see in your reality around you is a projection of what you believe about yourself. Anytime you wish something was different in life, I teach you how to look inside and find the solutions. My favorite part about the breakthrough session is when we change something on the inside, the holograms around you start to change too. And what do I mean by holograms? Well, you got to read the book Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot to fully get this idea. But basically, the synchronicities, the people, the events start lining up in ways you never thought possible when you become realigned after a breakthrough session. I love seeing the mind-body energy connection in action too. Your mind is stronger than anyone has ever told you because your thoughts and feelings affect your cells first and foremost. Check out the work of Bruce Lipton in the Biology of Belief. Bruce breaks down how your thoughts and feelings affect your cells through basic biology experiments. The breakthrough session upgrades your beliefs and reduces stress in your nervous system, which means you're upgrading the way your genes are expressed in your cellular biology. So I want you to go to mountainmindtricks.com and schedule a free discovery session to learn more. We have so many new opportunities here at Mountain Mind Tricks right now. I'm so excited. I'm so stoked on this. I want you to go to the website and check out the Leadership Accelerator if your mental health is affecting your performance on the line and at home. I want you to check out the energy session if you want to experience the healing power of ancient Hawaiian shamanism. We also support wildland firefighters during the fire season who are on light duty due to injury or mental health. In the Reset program, we offer the breakthrough session half off because we know you can't get your overtime. Upcoming this winter, we have the group coaching program, Expanding Situational Awareness. Such an amazing group of folks. We come together for transformation, for meditation, for going deep into release work together. Such a beautiful process, and it includes a mini breakthrough session. So I want you to go to mountainmindtricks.com and learn more about our programs. Alright guys, the Wildland Wellness Foundation has done it again. We have 4 sacred healing retreats this winter happening in Mexico and stateside. Are you a current or former wildland firefighter looking for alternative healing? You may want to check out wildlandwellnessfoundation.com to see more information about the upcoming retreats. In Mexico, we have a group of indigenous healers that come together for a 5-day experience that will change your life forever. An amazing group that really embodies the wisdom of their sacred teachers, and they share that with you through your own healing process with so many modalities, so many plant teachers, massage, Reiki, mental emotional release. It really is a holistic way of healing. Stateside, we have a group of integrative practitioners that bring together Hawaiian shamanism, sound healing, and sacred ceremony in a way that rewires your nervous system back to health. And what I mean by that is that the sound in the sacred ceremony just completely dissolves the limiting beliefs, the negative emotions, the things that are stuck in your nervous system. The sound is so healing and so powerful, it really is a game changer. So I want you to go to wildlandwellnessfoundation.com and schedule a discovery session to learn more about the sacred retreats this winter. Welcome everybody to the podcast. I'm so excited to be back at it after a whole summer off, and we have such a special guest here today, Danny Verdad. So excited to have Danny here, and Danny is a very special person. He's a brother to me, such a mentor, and such an amazing soul. So I'm so excited for you to meet him. Danny is dedicated to helping souls remember where they came from, to remember their beauty, to remember who they are at a soul level. And Danny's such a important person in our wildland fire community. And Danny will tell you a little bit more about what he does or his experiences in life. And we're just here to really explore Danny and his relationship to helping people remembering who they are. So excited. Danny, could you introduce yourself? And I guess my first question is what was it like growing up around these things? Growing up where you did in central Mexico, growing up with the home remedies and the curanderos and things like this.
Mijito, said the abuelita one day as we were sitting in the corridor in southern central Mexico. This is life, mijito. You gave away your time and you gave away your money so that your grandma can eat this mango with you. When I die, don't don't buy any flowers to me. If you don't want to come to the cemetery, don't come. I'd rather have you enjoying life as you are doing with me, with others. This is life, mijito. This is life, son. Those are many of the memories that I have from my childhood, brothers and sisters. I was born in Los Angeles back in 76, and I was taken to Mexico. My story is backwards, actually. So I was taken to Mexico when I was 6 months old, and I grew up there until I was 22. I did my whole life in Mexico, in a little village, no more than 100 people. I'm coming from the tribe of the Mixtecos. I was very fortunate to be among them, and I was very unfortunate not to learn their language. But I'm trying now, little by little. And I didn't know at the time the richness in many ways that I was living in, that I grew up with. Being myself the only grandson growing up with the parents and another auntie next to the mountains, with animals, with plants. Um, Now, when I see that, Siddhartha, uh, where he was living in, surrounded by these people, and many of the Zen stories about masters and things like that, I see myself in those stories, growing up like that. Uh, yes, there was a doctor 45 minutes away from the village, but mostly the way of living was a very holistic. Now I can say that word. Before we didn't know about holistic or spirit, any, uh, any concept dimensions and all these things that we talk today. We were just plain people, humble people, with lots of richness about the knowing of life. I saw the elders, how they were praying, uh, how they were observing nature and praying before they saw the seeds of corn. I knew the whole circle, the cycle of growing up the corn and the rituals and the festivities afterwards and the many, many, many stories. We are storytellers. Many, many stories about life, talking about some other people's life, remembering our ancestors, celebrating the Day of Death. And all of a sudden, somehow, we started entering into this idea, this illusion that that way of living, somebody call it poverty. And we had to run, seeking other, other ways of life. And it's okay, other ways of life. But the thing is, we must not forget what we are first, our roots, and then we can embrace the rest of the world. So I have many stories, but one of them is what that I was playing and I hit myself in the head because I was very uneasy as a child. And they took me to the doctor. There was no x-rays, there was no nothing. Like probably the things that you know today. I didn't know any TV until I was 9, and radio only two programs per day. So everything was organic, natural. And I remember that this doctor couldn't cope with what I had. He didn't know what I had. I kept on vomiting and feeling dizzy, and I don't know if I had some, cranial trauma or anything. I don't know. But after 15 days of injections, my auntie and the neighbor told my grandma, you know, uh, I think the doctor is going to heal him. You have to take it to Doña Sarita. Probably his mollera is down and she has to level it up. Mollera, I don't, as up until now, I've been asking doctors and I don't know. It's on the top of the cranium that something is very weak and it comes down, and it was their language. But they did it. And the vomiting stopped in the first session and everything else in 2 more sessions. In 3 days, I was cured. And many things like this. Things like could be miracles. It was a natural way of living among curanderas and home remedies. And now I've seen that the medicines that are growing up in that village, in that region, are being studied by the University of Texas, El Paso, Texas. And they have documented many of them. And now I'm helping little by little my community to preserve those endemic plants for the better of others. That's the way I grew up among curanderas, brother and sister.
Thank you, Danny, so much. So amazing to hear the story of where you came from and what it was like. And it's such a different, like you said, it's such a different world than what we're used to here in the States. And your perspective is so valuable to us. And thank you. And I'm curious, how did you come into a life that is so focused on service and serving others, serving your community? What happened to bring you into that life of service?
I'm realizing right now, brother, as you were asking the question, that it was the same way of living. The same way of living. There was no psychologist for when somebody died. There was no professional to assist us, but us, but ourselves. When somebody died, they rang the bells and we knew somebody has died. And then we started asking, and then of course, 100 people, the news were as fast as the internet is today, and we knew, and we were there. Okay, and my abuelita, my grandma told me, bring this thing to her, some fruit, some chocolate, some candle, go and help, go and help. There was no festivity, private or public, religious or of any kind, that the community didn't, you know, come together. We came together for weddings. 15 days, 1 month before the wedding, men started to build up, and that's the way we learn how to do the mole and many other, delicacies from Mexico's culinary art. And there was a beautiful way of living. So those are my roots. Serving was natural. Plus, I had to take care of my two grandpas, my grandma and my grandpa, until they died. Because my other auntie, she was working and she was studying first and then not working. And I was, growing up as a kid. I think she left when I was to school when I was 3 years old. So my parents took care of me when I was until I was 5. Then I entered into the school and then come back and do some errands and always took care of my grandparents. And then when I came to the state, my auntie was ill, and then my mother that she passed last month, and I was always there at service helping ill people. So it was life who threw me into this lifestyle of service. And then later on, but at the moment, I didn't realize any of this. I was refusing this type of life. I'm not doing my life because I have to take care of the ones, my loved ones who are ill, and was tired of this, and I didn't see the blessing on this until I discovered that through some talks by the Dalai Lama that service in one of the mantras, uh, uh, Om Mani Padme Hum, service is the jewel, the spiritual jewel. When you become uh, uh, plentiful, when you become one with everything, the yoga, the whole purpose is to serve, and many other traditions around the world. So that's how I found to service. And now I have embraced service. But it's not like my way of service is special or better than others. Everybody's serving at each other at every single moment. Right now, you are serving me, I'm serving you. But it's just the consciousness that we have to develop to remain consciously in that state of service and in that state of bliss. It's very simple, but we get too many distractions. But that's another talk. But that's how I got it.
Thank you, and service. Yes, I think it's so. I love the analogy of it being the most one of the most important spiritual jewels, and that resonates with me a lot. And I think when we serve others, it's profound for our own healing. It's profound for our own consciousness, and I really appreciate everything you just said. And and I'm curious, Danny, how did you meet Melissa Moore? How did you get into the wildland firefighter community? Like what happened to bring you into our community?
Again, service. I was in Vallarta. Um, I have a friend who told me I was looking for a place to write because I'm also a writer, and I was, invited by her to one of her places that she has in Vallarta. There is a place called Danny. Go over there. And then before, I was part of a school, a personal development school for 5.5 years, where I grew up my basis in my spirituality, knowledge of mind, soul, and I'm a mystic. So I met Rocio, that she's going to be there also at the retreat in Vallarta. And Rocio knew about what I was doing and my transitioning into many methods and experiences, spiritual experiences, and she knew I was there. So she asked me to help her with one ceremony. And I said, yeah, of course, sister. I didn't come for this, but it's you, and let's do it. And then later she said, hey, I have a friend who wants to be at the ceremony. Me thinking her ceremony. I said, well, I have to speak with her because I don't know anything about her. And have she done this type of, healing? And she said, no, she's new. I said, I cannot allow nobody to do this who's new because no, she wants to come and do the same ceremony next to me. And I said, oh, well, I have to talk to her too, of course, for her preparation. But that's how the universe brought Melissa into my life. And when we talked with Melissa, and after that first ceremony, I saw her soul and I saw her purpose. And then she told me many stories too about you guys, what you've been doing. And then I reconnected these experiences in the mountains, uh, everywhere I've been, California, everywhere I've been, but especially where I grew up. How we took care of the fire, how fire was very important to us to cook, to live, how we did protect, nature, how we embrace this harmony with that element. And later on, there are some other friends too that are into firefighting, and I said, you must be pacifiers instead of firefighters, because not many people recognizes the things that you have to go through. And it doesn't matter if you help people or not, humans. The moment you're stepping in a mountain, trying to help nature, our brothers and sisters, the animals, we must be thankful to you because we are breathing that air, because we need the ecosystems to survive. And you are taking care of it. And not many people see it that way. We see you as heroes, we see you as fighters, but we don't see you as preservers of life. And that's why I honor you, brothers and sisters from the wildland firefighters. Honor you for everything you've been doing, for everything you've been through. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny, so much. I love your perspective on being pacifiers. And thank you so much. And I'm curious on how have traditional remedies, traditional plants, how have those brought you healing in your life?
Well, the first one I told you was one tomato, green tomato with some type of oils that I don't remember. They would put it on the fire, and with those comal or sartén. I don't know if that's the name. Some flat where we cook the tortillas in Mexico in a traditional way. This piece of metal or clay, rounded clay, and that's the first thing. Then the remedies of my abuela for the spirit, for the mind. They said, "Oh, take this for intelligence." Every day I went to school. Every day they gave me these things that I don't know how to translate. Epazote. This is good for intelligence and also for amoebas. Uh, and as I said, I forgot about all these things. I forgot about all these things. When I came to the States, of course, I was pursuing this type of life. I got some of it. I enjoyed very much. I'm enjoying it still. I'm not fighting against anything. But then I went to Africa because one of my uncles who married my mother's sisters, he's from Nigeria, and then I was fully immersed into these tribes of his, and I remember my ancestry too. And it was this, among with some other uh, masters who helped me in my development of my spirit in Mexico, that introduced me also to the sacred plants. And in the beginning, I didn't have any type of these encounters. It was just pure remedies. But and I got really confused. I had to break up too many taboos. And then I started to see, because I also like to research, and I started to see that there was a misuse of all of these plants due to ignorance, due to despair, due to the lack of help, the broken systems of health in mental health and in any type of health, not only in the States but around the world. And I realized it was because there is no education, practical education as I had it, to see everything as sacred, to be respectful, but not respect to a lot of culture or dogma or fear, out of knowledge on how to use. And then I started to research more about the ancestry, how they use tobacco, alcohol, pulque, any other sacred medicines, the Aztecs, the Mayans. Then I discovered all around the world. And many of this information is out there. I don't usually talk about these things because there is so much information. It costs me lots of time and confusion about who's right. So instead of that, I decided to come back to my roots, to experience in a sacred way, in a ritualistic way, all of these plants and remedies back again, okay, and serving myself and others. And then, after years of experience, I started to research more in the academic world, and I found many psychiatrists and many uh, um, psychologists, many mystics that they're sharing their story in a deeper way, a more serious way per se. And I started to discover that everything that I was seeing and experiencing, that's the way. And it was a difficult time. I'm not praising that, that's the best way to do it, and I won't recommend it too, because it's very serious. But I was fully dedicated by that time. I had no other type of work. Okay, I'm immersed in this world, and I started seeing, the benefits of it in the community. But the most important to me is that instead of using and abusing these sacraments, we just use them when we really need them, when we really can get into some other state of consciousness, and then we practice, and then we can produce our own things because we are able to in our bodies. So we honor nature. I honor the ancient knowledge, and I honor the present knowledge of academics, and I honor also the way of living, a conscious living. That's the way they help me in my personal life. And of course, now that I'm here, the last thing that it helped me with, I've been healing many things in my life, since my self-esteem, blockages, creativity, health, my relationships with everybody, leadership, not being worried about money, all these things. Instead of that, focusing my energy in more creations and serving my community. I'm harmonizing my whole family. And now I think my biggest achievement up until today is to help my mother to transcend and achieve her nirvana before she left this physical body. And by the way, today is her cremation. And I'm just happy. There is no grief. There is no rancors because she left me. And my father, I had a beautiful ceremony and encounter with my father 3 days ago, so celebrating that I'm alive, that he was along with my mother, for a very short period of time. But I'm full of gratitude for them, for their lives. And I got out of suffering the way I suffered before. I got out of this endless circle of suffering, unnecessary suffering, because there is some suffering that helps us too in the beginning. But I got out of it, and I cannot avoid the physical pain. I cannot avoid of some impactful emotions, but I'm not suffer them. I embrace them and I make the best out of it. And my life is my biggest laboratory to serve others. That's the way any type of plan has served my life.
Well, thank you so much, Danny. And oh my gosh, I'm just every time we hang out, every time we speak, I love everything you say. It's just you speak so beautifully, and I think I just want to say thank you for your energy and thank you for just being such a humble, amazing person. And Danny, I think for everybody listening, we would love to hear a little bit more about what are the benefits of these retreats in Mexico? What are the benefits? Like these wildland firefighters that are coming to us are suffering so immensely. You know, like suicide is so big in our culture, and that may not be, sometimes that shows up in our retreats, but it's really like there's a lot of mental emotional pain in our community, and I'm like I would love to hear you speak a little bit more on how do these retreats benefit the wildland firefighter.
Well, the first thing I like to tell all of you, brothers and sisters, is that I wish, I wish one retreat could give you, you know, the all of the knowledge, love, and power and will to transcend everything you have been going through in your whole life or what you have been through now. But unfortunately, it's not like that. I'm always honest. I'm always honest. It's not a pill that you take. It's a way of living. We have to be the walking medicine out there. I have seen miracles. I have seen miracles and I have seen people that's still struggling in many ways, but I have seen miracles too. And coming out of your own uh, perspective, that's the first benefit. The biggest fear that some of us have or have had or will have is that I don't want to let go of myself. I want to change. I want to be better, but I don't want to be other that I am because I feel good. But even though I don't feel good, I feel good. I don't want to give away my life and who I've been. And if something is going to change, how is going to be this change? What's going to happen? The mind wonders. But we must go first through this transition of mm, disintegrating our mind, disintegrating our ideas about who we are, how we how we are, what is life, what is suffering, what is ideas, what everything that goes through our mind. We have to disintegrate all these pieces. Okay, it's like a puzzle. Okay, you are a finished puzzle now, but you don't feel good about the images that you see because they make no more sense. I see the whole puzzle here, but I don't feel good for whatever reason. I don't like this piece right here. I don't like the other way, blah, 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 colors, whatever. So we must disintegrate our puzzle to clean the puzzle. And then after the retreat and during the retreat, during the process to come to the retreat, you're going to be polishing and little by little, you're going to be joining those pieces again into the puzzle. And guess what? You're still the same, but you are not the same. So it's not about the matter to, I'm going to lose something. The only thing I'm going to lose is the dust of who I'm not. But in order to do so, we must step into some other realities to help the mind, the being, the forms to disintegrate. So that's why they choose Mexico in this case, but could be anywhere. You know, we are um, giving with all of our hearts, me and the people who serving in the retreat, uh, and I'm talking especially for this purpose to the people who's in Mexico. They're giving you the whole knowledge and life in a different perspective, so that that disintegration could happen in a very secure, full of love setting. And I think that's one of the benefits first. The second one is that the sacraments, different sacraments that we use, are always taught to be given in a very therapeutical way, in integral way. So we are not just giving something to the body, but we are also attending the mind and the emotions at the same time, and the spirit, of course. So we're always working holistically. And sometimes you are surrendered by this bubble of all of these energies all together that is so overwhelming, but at the same time very clear. The whys, the hows that you're looking for in your life. And the most powerful benefits is that you can enhance your neurons. You can release stress from your body. Uh, you can spit out emotions that you don't longer need anymore in a very free way, but not invasive way, but not painful way. Or probably sometimes painful for a little bit, but then you enjoy the pain because you are seeing the purpose of the pain. And that that it's this thing that I have said, I think is one the most important that can interest you, because you are seeing lots of pain. You cannot avoid the pain with the fire. But when you are able to resignify holistically in your consciousness, body, mind, at every moment, that's the way you get out of suffering too. That's another way, a fastest way. And that's not a secret for me. I would like to everybody to have these abilities. Okay, I was seeing my mother transcending. I was seeing my mother's having fear to let go of the body. We were having ceremony. We were having ceremony for 5 days. I slept half hour per day, attending her fully, helping her to get rid of the fears and everything, so that she can let go of the body. And of course, it's my mother. I'm sensing everything. And it was painful at some times, but I was able to transmute that energy of pain into power, into love, into consciousness, into focusness to help her, and to go beyond and to have telepathic perception with her, to be able to see her visions, to help her in some other dimensions. Until, I mean, we saw who we presence her nirvana, the expression in her body, the beautiness of everything. But it was because I'm able to transmute, to resignify deeply and in an integral way every aspect of pain that is happening at every moment. And that's when they say you are awake. You're awake. And I'm good at some points, at some things, at some others, you are my teachers. I'm learning too. But the things that I do, that's the way I do it. And that's the way I share. That's what I can share about it, brother.
Thank you, Danny, so much. There's so many perspectives here that are so important. And I think moving out of the perspective that's stuck, right, and disintegrating these ideas about who we are, and using these sacraments in a therapeutic use and enhancing the neurons, releasing stress, uh, spitting out these old lessons and transmuting pain into power. Like, oh my gosh, there's some really big transformation in your words, and just from my experiences, I it's just the setting of love that you can facilitate is so powerful. And I think something that I'm curious about too is we all know intention and purpose is so important when working with sacraments. And I'm curious if you could speak to that. Like how does the intention and purpose of what these firefighters want, like how important is the intention and purpose?
Let's get up with the word in, inside, right? Adentro, inside. Then the tension inside. But the intention has to come from the attention. And in my mystical perspective, is to give ourselves. That's why when we go into the magic mountain, we say, because we're giving away everything. Attention. So our attention is there, okay? But it has to be intention without tension. Is to be aware of the tension that is inside. That tension could be mean different ways. Is tension in a stressful way, in a negative way that we're damaging ourselves in any aspect of ourselves? Or is tension because we are attentive, because we are present, because we are full with energy to go into something? And that's why it's very important that people who wants to come to what this type of retreats, okay, they are willing to put their lives into change, into conscious change, not to wait for the shaman, the guide, the therapist, Thomas, Melissa, an organization, somebody, God, to do something for me. No, I'm gonna do it with them, along them. I don't want followers. I don't want nobody to be uh, behind me, and I don't want to follow nobody. I want people by my side, and it's only people like that that I can see now. When I come back years later, they are leaders. They have changed their lives. They have learned from others. Now they're sharing with others. So it's people who is willing to be so humble, to let go of everything. Okay. First, the ideas. And that's another thing. Yeah. Oh my God, how can I get let go of everything? Then what is the purpose of everything that I have done? No. It's again as a trick mind, as a trick of the mind. You're not going to lose anything that you don't need, but you have to lose something that you are not. Definitely. If you are not willing to do so, then you think you have an intention to come, but you are not having it from this deeper perspective that I'm saying. So first, the intention. Even if you don't have anything else, I don't want to focus on the other part of the question. Just understand this about intention. Okay? And you don't need to come either to no retreat, no guidance. Just live that way, and you will see. The retreat is only, I don't know, like an elevator instead of using the stairs. Okay, we're gonna borrow that elevator, but guess what? That elevator doesn't come down, only goes up. So it will bring you up with your intention. You will be able to see in a higher way your own life, life itself. Okay, but you have to climb down by the ladder. That's all I can say about it.
Oh, I love that analogy of taking an elevator that only goes up, that's only raising consciousness, it's only transmuting energy. I love this so much. I love that analogy. Thank you. And Danny, for all the wildland firefighters listening that are maybe interested in the Wildland Wellness Foundation, but maybe they're unsure about it, what would you tell them that, you know, if they're interested in this deep healing process, what would you tell them?
First, if you are unsure, don't do it. La queja y el lamento no es el modo de un guerrero. Okay. I don't know how to translate queja, but it's like whining and lamenting are not the ways of the warrior, the spiritual warrior. Okay. And you are not less than anybody. That's not your way. And it's respectful, and you have to go on your own. Okay. And we bless you for that. Okay. And we wish the best for you, because we are not the only ones. There's so many ways to achieve the same thing. So if you have any insecurity, don't do it. If you have curiosity, don't do it. If you want more power, don't do it. If you want more knowledge only, don't do it. But if you're humble enough to surrender into yourself, not to us, not to the sacraments, into yourself, and immerse into yourself to discover the amazing things that you are, then it doesn't matter if you have or not money. It doesn't matter if you have now or not time. Permits all of that. I have seen it many times, brothers and sisters, many times with many people. You don't even have to speak or think about it. You just know you are ready for it, and you'll be there. When? It doesn't matter, because I know what I'm going to say is a cliche. Everything is perfect. Every time is perfect. And I'm waiting for you. And everybody who's serving that retreat is waiting for you. We have called upon you many years ago, in many prayers, in many ways. We are waiting for you. Are you ready to be with yourself? That only you know.
So much power in your words. Thank you. And I'm curious, Danny, there's so much love. We've talked so many times about how much love you have for the wildland firefighters. And I know you've touched on that a little bit. I would love for you to just go a little bit deeper on, like, why do you love the wildland firefighters so much?
As I said, I grew up in a mountain, in the basins of a mountain. I started singing uh, in a canyon. The canyon was my teacher on how to sing. I have so many fears about uh, going into the night, at night into the mountains. I was a very fearful person in many ways, very timid, very quiet out there. Uh, Within my home, I was bright. But my first philosophical question about consciousness was on top of a rock by that mountain next to home in the village. And I said, I remember it was by the, was it after primary school in English? Help me out. Secondary school, I don't know how, I don't remember sometimes here in the States, I didn't grow up here. But anyway, I was like in mm, seventh grade, probably. Yeah, it's better to say. And then I heard that we came from the Big Bang, a very mm, impactful contradiction of what I heard at church. But then I started to talk to the rock, and I embraced her. I I remember I was caressing the rock, and I asked her if they said that I think I coming from evolution, not from God. Uh, then you are evolving too. So if you are evolving, the probably I was a rock before. And can you hear me now, but you don't have any mouth? Are you evolving too? Is this strength that I'm sensing from you, the way you talk? Who are you? Do you know who you are? Do you ask questions to yourself? And from that moment on, I remember, philosophy was a very important part of my life. And I have seen many people, philosophers and artists and, mystics, that all of that knowledge, all of that wisdom comes from nature. And then seeing the ancient ways, fire, as I see it, it's trees and plants and everything, but I'm talking about the wildland firefighters. The trees are one of the biggest storage of the power of the sun. And the sun is the symbol for the great spirit of the energy who is providing life at every moment. That's the way I see you guys, the preservers of life, the pacifiers. I'm saying these simple words, these analogies, but I don't feel them as you hear them conceptually. I'm experiencing them and for me, work in fire represents one of the biggest energies and expressions of the universe. And that's why I love you so much, because you dedicate your life to preserve nature, to harmonize with fire, the great grandpa, as I call it, the great abuelo, el gran abuelo. And I cannot have any words or ways of serving you to demonstrate the love that I have for your work. Just my blessings your ways, wherever you are. Thank you for everything, brothers. And thank you for letting us be ourselves in this light of service, because we are nothing without you. Thank you for coming. And if you are not coming to any of these retreats, thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for keeping up the faith and the hope in yourselves to serve others. May the Great Spirit bless you in many ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny, so much. Thank you, Danny. And is there anything that we didn't talk about? Anything that you want to go deeper on? Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap it up for the day?
Well, you know me, Thomas. I can talk for many hours and days and months. I love talking. And thank you also for making an effort to understand my English. I'm still learning. I didn't go to school. I learned by myself. And one of the things talking with people as they prepare for the retreats is uh, it's enough the suffering that you are going through, just with fire and the effort, your physical effort. is enough. I know all of us have had many traumatic experience, you know, in our childhood with family, parents, society. But if you have the power to control fires, if you have that power, you have the power to embrace another brother or sister in a more spiritual way and not abuse them. You have the power to talk to the alcohol or any other type of drug. Talk, be grateful for what they gave you before. Don't fight against them. But you have the power to stop. And if you don't, because now it's more physical, be humble enough to accept some help. Because as much as we can contribute to the better of this humanity, we are not contributing by destroying ourselves. And at least myself, I cannot see my life. And I cannot see that I can get the best out of this life, taking the best out of others. I must think about those childs that are in the middle of this chaotic world that we have created. And I have taken the best. I'm 46 now. I have taken the best I can, the best I could. But the rest of my life, since now is very simple and joy is everywhere, I would like to dedicate it to others so that our new generations can have a better life. And by serving others, by preserving something for others, brothers and sisters, believe me, it's enough to be plentiful and joyful in life. So please, next time despair, rage, any other type of emotion is disturbing your soul, stop and talk to them. Don't reject them. Embrace them with love. And if you don't know, just be silent. Be silent. If you cannot love, be silent at least. Be amicable to yourself and to others. That's the only I can ask you for because I have seen and listening so much pain that you in your group, in your work, are provoking to each other. Please stop. That's all.
Thank you, Danny, for your time today. Thank you for your wisdom, for your heart, for your love. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for your journey. And just know that I love you. And our whole group loves you too. And just thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do for our community. It is so powerful and so important. And I just want to say thank you and I love you for your time. And such a blessing to speak to you today and for everybody listening. Uh, I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you'll reach out to me or Melissa or Ashley or anybody that, feel free to reach out and we'll speak more about retreats or healing or anything that you need. We want to support you. Just like Danny said, we're waiting for you. And such powerful words today. So humbled. Danny, thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. We are here. Let's do it.
Let's do it.